What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another movie review. Hope you guys have been enjoying the content on this channel as of late. I posted a very lengthy video in regards to Ridley Scott, so hope you guys are enjoying that little piece. Um, Back with more reviews, back with a ton of movie reviews coming your way this month, because this month is basically catch-up month. Lots of movies that I did not see, and we'll be talking about here on this channel. And the first of many is going to be The Power of the Dog, um, which we've discussed this director previously on this channel, Jane Campion, I think it's her name. And we talked about her thoughts on the superhero genre and stuff, so if you guys want to check out that video, you guys can go check that out. But let's talk about The Power of the Dog. And if you see me looking down here, that's just because I got notes. And if you hear noises going on, I live literally right near an airport and a street, so if you hear all these noises going on, just know that my house is my environment area is pretty noisy. So, but anyways, let's get into this review. So, The Power of the Dog is a film that I've been hearing so much these past few weeks. It's one of those films. When it comes to award seasons, it's the Nomadland of this year, which is a film that's been sweeping. It's been getting a lot of recognition in many places, a lot of attention. It's likely to be nominated for a lot of stuff, and this is also a return of a filmmaker in, of course, Jane Campion. I think I say her last name. As she hasn't directed a film in the past 25 years, I believe. Her last film was The Piano in 1991, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that was her last film. Let me check real quick just to be sure. Okay, so I was wrong. It was actually a film called Bright Star. That was the last film that she ever directed. Came out in 2009, so that means it's been 12 years since she has directed a feature. And she also produced a film called They, which came out in 2017, which is a film I really did not like. But in terms of directorial efforts, it's been a long time since she has directed a film of any kind, and she's now back with The Power of the Dog. And the first thing that I'll mention about The Power of the Dog that I think actually works quite a bit. Actually, before we get into that, I just want to mention my thoughts on movies that get loads of attention. Just my particular thoughts on those types of movies. Like going into a film like this, knowing that there's so much, praise and positive reception going around. I don't really buy into that reception surrounding it. I don't buy into it at all. I usually go into films pretty blind. I go into films, or not blind, but I go into them pretty neutral. I don't really hype myself up over movies or anything because that destroys my opinion. I want to go into movies with the most open mind possible. Buying into hype can really damage your viewing experience. And I've had that happen in the past. Like, infamous, a film that I saw was Independence Day Resurgence, which is not a great film. But at the time I saw it, I saw a double feature. I saw the first Independence Day for the first time, had a fun time with it, and then I got into the second film, and I was riding the high of that first film, while also it was a really good day in general. So I was having a really good day that day, and my emotions were kind of driving the whole day. So anything that I would see or hear would have been amazing to me. And that was the case with Independence Day Resurgence. And watching it years later, not good. So I don't buy into hype because that can really damage a viewing experience and really put you in the wrong mindset. So and also a lot of times for films that get a lot of praise or get so much attention, I usually fall into the opposite camp a lot of times. when it comes to my own opinion. Like, I wasn't big on Nomadland last year, and that was the film that everybody was talking about last year, and it was the film that swept the Academy Awards. So I was kind of I wasn't worried, but I was interested to see The Power of the Dog, but I was also concerned because a lot of times when films get this type of hype, um, I don't really love them. Love them. Um, the last time I had that happen was Parasite, um, and it was also the rare time where I saw the Best Picture winner and said, "Yep, that's definitely one of the best films of the year." Um, so going into this, I was just I was interested, but to be honest with you, I was just not um, like crazy excited or hyped or anything, just because I don't know, I just wasn't really that excited for The Power of the Dog. What's most notable and impressive about The Power of the Dog is its visual strengths. I have to say that visually it is quite a thing to see. I think that the colors are razor sharp and subtle in detail, and the framing I think provides some really beautiful whites, some really nice close-ups. I liked the way that they utilize um, the uh, the the camera placement, particularly like in a scene near the middle where Benedict Cumberbatch character is like laying out and he's like kind of moving a piece of cloth around. It's a the camera work in that was really good. And uh, as strong as the visuals are, the characterization is also quite good for all for all the players in the story. Um, I found that they were given a fair amount of development and some decent dimensions to make them interesting and distinct enough characters. Um, and I would say my favorite performance was Kristen Dunst. I really thought that she brought more layers to her character. I thought she had a little bit more of an intrigue, um, because she has this eerie gentleness to her, yet being also extremely fragile. Um, it created a very compelling and a very understanding character because you understand completely why she does the things that she does, and you almost feel very sorry for her. I mean, you feel extremely sympathetic towards her character, and a lot of that is due to Kristen Dunst's performance. Um, but a lot of that also comes from the director, who I think really brought a tightly organized and well-paced piece, because it gives enough time for elements to grow to a fair. It gives enough time for elements to grow and blossom into something interesting and at points fascinating. Um, and it's clearly in the hands of an experienced storyteller, so it doesn't feel like it's trying to um, it doesn't feel like it's trying to it doesn't feel like it's in the hands of someone new. It feels like someone that has done this for a while, and and I think that the craftsmanship strengthens both the ideas it's wishing to address, and I think it uh, develops the characters throughout. The direction helps develop the characters throughout. Um, to me, the brilliance of the direction came from um, its its choice in uh, showing us certain elements and leaving others out, because it wasn't for for leaving it to our imagination, but to trust that the audience can fill in the blanks. And I think that that was a really splendid and wonderful choice made. I think that it really made I think that it was a great detail because there's a certain thing that throughout the movie you're waiting to see, but you never see it. Um, and I think that I think it was great that we didn't see it because it was, in hindsight, very unnecessary to see this certain element. Um, and I think you guys know what I'm referring to. Something involving Benedict Cumberbatch and a particular character. You expect to see a certain thing, and the movie kind of builds to this point, and you never actually see it. You're you're there. It's suggested, and you certainly know that this thing happened, but you never actually see it. And I love that. I love that Jane trusts the audience so much, um, and doesn't rely on showing everything. Sometimes you can leave things. Um, you don't have to show us every single thing for us to get what's going on. Sometimes it's just a certain object, or a certain look, um, or a certain atmosphere. That is enough to tell us what's going on versus actually visually showing us the thing that's going on. So I think Jane did a really good job in terms of a director, in terms of just bringing some solid work here. Then we get to Benedict Cumberbatch. So a lot of the praise for The Power of the Dog comes from Benedict Cumberbatch. He's probably like Will Smith in King Richard. He's likely to get nominated. But what's funny about bringing up Will Smith and King Richard, I oddly enough found similar strengths and similar issues here with Cumberbatch. Because to me, it's very clear that he has a background in theater. He's very much a theater boy, a theater kid, and if there's a performer that I would compare him to, it's Jake Gyllenhaal, because they operate very, very similarly. I think that they're in different leagues. I think Benedict Cumberbatch is a better performer, not like leaps and bounds better, but I think just a little bit better than Jake Gyllenhaal, in my opinion. And they're not like when I say leagues, I think that Benedict is like right here. It's just a tad bit better than Jake Gyllenhaal, but I don't think it's anything like it's not. We're not comparing Daniel Day-Lewis to Jake Gyllenhaal. Those are different leagues. I guess what I'm saying is that Benedict edges out Jake in terms of performances for me. Because I never like how Jake is so explosive sometimes with his performances. Like sometimes he just screams and yells, and I think that it takes away from a lot of his his characters and his performances. With Benedict, what I appreciated here, because of that clear theater background that he possesses, I liked seeing the charm that his performance had, the engagement that his performance had, and also quite a lot of energy to this performance. And I think that all of it is a benefit. I think that it all fits for that character. But where things don't really work is that the performance isn't reaching the depths that it needs in order to resonate. It's something how do you say it? It's a performance that looks good, but it's a performance that you're not really caring about. Like, that's kind of where I was at with the performance. I can recognize some good qualities, but I'm not really getting much out of it. It's kind of similar to King Richard, where I think that the reason why I believe the performance is garnishing so much attention and getting is being more noteworthy, is because he's under solid direction. I think Jane is what makes that performance the way it makes that performance more Jane is the reason why that performance is getting more attention. I just think from watching the performance singularly, just the performance itself, I just don't think it was all that great. I don't know. I thought it was a good performance, but I didn't think it was anything great. But the one thing that I never have liked about Cumberbatch as a performer, I also argue is very distracting with him as a performer, is his accents. A great accent, in my opinion, is never glaring. With Cumberbatch, it's like it's almost always noticeable. It's not to say what he's doing is bad. I think that the accent itself sounds okay, but it's to say that he can't hide it well. Like when you're watching The Power of the Dog, you can tell that this is not his actual voice. Like you could tell that could tell someone's putting on an accent. I think that that's what I'm getting at, is that you can tell that someone is putting on some kind of accent. It's not something that feels natural or sounds natural. It sounds like someone trying to put on a certain voice. And I think that that's, like, for me, if you can't do the accent, just don't do the accent, you know, because I'd rather take a performance that's great without an accent than a performance that's just good, but with a noticeable accent, you know. So yeah, I thought his performance was fine. I mean, again, it's similar to Will Smith, where I just thought it was fine. It did what it needed to do for the movie, but it doesn't reach any other heights or any depths for me. Speaking about the resonance, I feel like the narrative itself is lacking a lot of this. Kind of similar to Benedict Cumberbatch's performance. Like, there's definitely loads of intrigue and interest, but I think that when it tries to reach for certain emotions, you're more drawn into the technical efforts than the emotions it's trying to get out of you. Because it's a very pretty picture. It's a very pretty looking movie. But like the scene I brought up earlier with about Benedict Cumberbatch's character, Phil, that's his name. You know, having that cloth, you know, him waving that cloth all over his body. That should have been the tearjerker moment. But what comes across more is a very well shot sequence, but not a very well made scene. And I think that's the unfortunate thing that this movie has, is that it just lacks a lot of resonance. And I think that the reason why that resonance isn't mostly there is because of how many characters we have to follow. Because this is an ensemble film. This is not a film that's about one character. It's about like 5 characters. And that can be problematic. Because I do think the development was well handled. I think that all the characters are given good development. I just don't think that it benefits the story. If anything, it gets in the way of the story on an emotional level. Because with us continuously going back and forth to certain perspectives, our emotions can never come to the surface when our focus is always shifting. So, like, I would say to me that that's the biggest flaw of the movie, unfortunately, because besides from that, I think that it has solid. I think that the ensemble itself is solid. I think that it has striking visuals. I think that it has a solid direction and some very well developed characters. And I do think in general it is a capable piece that does carry a certain degree of intrigue and interest. But I do think that it lacks a lot of emotional impact. And it clearly wanted to. Like, it clearly wanted to hit on certain emotions, especially towards the end. But technically speaking, it's very well made. But narratively, that's where its weaknesses begin to show. And luckily for me, anyway, it left a small mark. I mean, I don't particularly think The Power of the Dog is a great movie, but I do think it's a good film. I think it's solid in some regards. Again, kind of the best comparison for The Power of the Dog is King Richard, because you can watch the film and see that it's a good film. It's well made, but it's not really hitting you as hard. You know, like, I feel like if this movie actually had the resonance that it was wanting to achieve, I feel like this would have been a really good film. But since it's lacking that resonance, it's fine. It does what it needs to do, but I wish it did more. So I don't think it's as great as a lot of people have been saying, but for what it is, I think that it gets some things right and really good, as a matter of fact, and then it gets some things that I feel could have been better, particularly with the emotional resonance, all the resonance of the film. So yeah, The Power of the Dog, I thought it was good, but not great. So So yeah, those are my thoughts on the power of the dog. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. Sorry if I sound a little scattered, just a little lightheaded. Um, so I'm gonna drink some water after this, and you can tell because my throat's all dry. Um, but yeah, the power of the dog is good, but not great. And I think Benedict Cumberbatch, again, I think he's gonna get nominated because it's the popular thing right now. Um, but similar to Will Smith, I think it's a good performance, but it didn't really hit me as much. It's a performance that's working for everybody, but not really working for me. So um, it's fine. It's a fine performance. Nothing too too special in my particular opinion. I think the reason why it's getting all the attention it is, like I said, it's the solid direction, but also a lot of the stuff that Benedict did for the role, which is admirable. It's really great to hear that he invested himself into this role. But work does not translate to quality, you know. So I mean, it does when you're working on a production, but in terms of how do I say this? Like it's really great to hear all that stuff, and I respect it and I can relate to that type of stuff. But um, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean that what you put on is um, it is automatically great. You know, it just doesn't for me. Like Daniel Day-Lewis is an amazing performer, and we know how much he prepares for his roles. Um, you know, but that's just a bonus. You know, he's just a great performer that happens to prepare really, really well. That prepares a lot. Benedict Cumberbatch is a good performer, and you know the preparation did not really do much for his performance. I mean, preparation doesn't do much for your performances. It's good to prepare, but it doesn't mean that you're automatically going to do something great. Just because you don't take a shower, just because you don't brush your teeth, just because you don't do this and that, it's great details for your character and to get you more invested into your part, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to provide a great performance. That's what I'm getting at. Elements like that are good for Oscar voters, but in terms of film, in terms of putting it on the screen and putting it within the confines of a story, you could do all that preparation, but if you're not putting on a good performance, it doesn't really matter to me. So it doesn't really matter to me in general. I mean, even if it was a great performance, the preparation is interesting to hear, but it's not, you know, I care about what's on the screen, not the behind the scenes stuff. So I mean, it's good stuff to hear, but it's not stuff that it doesn't sway me. So it doesn't change my opinion on the performance. In the case of Benedict Cumberbatch, what I got was a fair performance, and really that's it. So yeah, he'll likely probably get nominated. So, but yeah, so that's my thoughts on Power of the Dog. I liked it, but not loved it as much as everyone else is. So, but you guys let me know your thoughts on the Power of the Dog. Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? And my next review will be another Netflix film. I'll let you guys figure out what that movie is going to be. Can I tease it? I mean, Netflix is, I think, is pretty. I think it's a Netflix film with another notable star. I'll put it that way. Another notable actor. So you guys will figure it out when that review comes out. But until then, I'm gonna drink some water and relax because I can't talk anymore. I'm slurring my words. I'm literally just like I'm burning out. So I need to go relax. So yeah, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoy this review, and I'll catch you in the next review. Try to guess what it is in the comments, and hope you guys stay safe, stay protected, and hope you guys all also have a awesome holiday season because now we're in December. So thank you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys next time.